turnaround. First of all, reflections again. Have you had a look back at the game and been able to analyse what went wrong?
Yeah, I have watched the game back, and it's not difficult to analyse what went wrong. It was obvious. But you look at the first half performance, so even up until they scored, really, we were in control of the game, and there was so much positive things to look at and think about, and then just not doing two basic moments of the game, not defending well enough. That's what's cost us the game. So that's I've seen the words reality check. Probably was in some aspects. I'm not daft. I watched a lot of the games before I came here, so I know some of the issues that have been apparent. There's a fine line in between winning and losing football matches, and what happens in both penalty boxes ultimately decides the outcome of the game. And the other night we weren't good enough in both boxes.
Is that a mental aspect that you're thinking about here? You say you looked at matches pre you coming in, because it's very similar mistakes that have been happening. Is that a mental thing, or is that basically a physical aspect of the game that the players need to work on?
I think it can be a combination of things, and it's important that it doesn't become mental. It's important that we focus on the things that we can always affect, and there are moments in the games that we can affect. At the moment, because of the limited time between games, it's hard to try and replicate those scenarios on the training pitch. Some of them you can, not all of them. But our mental approach to the games and certain situations is something that we can speak about, highlight, and then talk about, obviously. And but ultimately, as everyone will know, actions speak louder than words.
A couple of years ago, when Hearts were playing these European games in midweek as well, with very similar situations. Is that a problem, do you think, for the players? Are they programmed to be playing 3 games in a week?
Good question. That's something that, coming to the club, you see the size of this club, the expectation of the club. We want to be a club that's successful and competing in Europe, so therefore you have to develop that mentality, you have to develop that way of working that gives you the best chance of success in every game. So the games programme is the games programme. Players will tell you they want to play games, and if you're playing lots of games, then it normally says that you're being successful. It's something you have to deal with, and over a period of time, then we have to provide the right conditions around the players and the right environment to make sure that it's elite. We are elite in our thinking, we're elite in our behaviour, in how we prepare and how we train and how we play.
And that's something that is missing at the moment, do you think?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's missing, it's something that you're always trying to develop. Say I've only been here 3 weeks, so I think I'd be wrong to make quick assumptions. I've come into this football club and you make your own, you do your own sort of audit, but I don't want to, I've come in with an open pair of eyes and ears, and I don't want to have any preconceived ideas. I want to make my own judgment with obviously seeking the advice of good people around me, and therefore that guides you into your journey moving forward.
Finally for me, St Johnstone, another club who've had a managerial bounce of sorts until midweek. What do you expect from St Johnstone, and how have they changed since their new manager has come in?
Yeah, they have, and the new manager, you can see the effect that he's had on the team. Obviously, until midweek, they'd had a couple of good results, and the formation that they're playing and how they're playing. He's obviously trying to implement a certain style, and as I know, that can take a time. Whenever there's a change, there's always a change in thinking, and you're asking the players to do different things. But until the game against St Mirren in the week, it was obviously going well for them. They'll be looking to bounce back at home, but we're looking to bounce back from our home defeat as well.
I know you've been asked a few times about Lawrence, but obviously there's a lot of focus on him at the moment. He scored 30 odd goals last season.
Yeah.
He's only scored 1 this year. What are your early impressions of him, and why is it not quite happening for him at the minute?
No, I've been really impressed with him. I spoke to him again on the training pitch this morning, and of course he's a striker. He wants to score goals. He's He's frustrated that he's not hitting the back of the net, but I think his all-round contribution in the last couple of games has been fantastic. I think he's played like a real captain, a real leader. He's brought so much more to the team in the way that he's played and led the line for us, and he's been so close to hitting the back of the net. If he keeps putting himself in the certain situations, then with his finishing ability off both feet or in his head, he will get goals, I've got no doubt.
In terms of attitude and what have you, I mean, some supporters see things and create narratives, but there's some suggestion that his body language isn't quite right. Have you seen any of that, or are you quite comfortable with the way he is?
No. I'm really comfortable with the way he is. Of course, if he misses a chance or he misses a moment, he expects high standards from himself. He expects to score goals. So it is a normal reaction that if you miss a chance or you don't quite connect, that there would be that initial reaction of disappointment. When we conceded the other night, I'm sure if you looked at me, I would be. It's human. We're all human. We all suffer emotions. So Lawrence wants to score goals, but I say if you look at his all-round contribution to the team, his physical effort, and the data will back that up. He's put so much into the last few games, and if he keeps working hard, then it'll turn for him.
How is he around the place, like day to day? Is his morale still okay?
No, honestly, he's been brilliant. I spoke to him this morning. Obviously, we were disappointed about losing the game the other night, so there's an obvious disappointment straight after the game. But the response this morning from himself and the team has been excellent. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we play tomorrow.
And if players going through a big struggle like this in terms of goal scoring, which is what he generally seems to be judged on, is there a temptation maybe to think about the captaincy and whether that needs to change, or are you quite comfortable?
No, none at all. No, that doesn't ever come into my thinking. No. Otherwise, you're judging things on outcome all the time. Lawrence is captain. He's captain for a reason, and he'll remain captain.
Team news, any changes from midweek?
No, not in terms of injuries. No one was injured the other night, so we're hopeful that Benny he's done a couple of days of training, so he's in a better position to be available for this game. But other than that, we are as we were the other night.
Neil, what are the main improvements you want to see from your side against St Johnstone this weekend?
Both penalty boxes. I think we had 70% or nearly 70% of the ball the other night, which is a lot. A lot of domination, but with that you've got to turn it into dangerous possession. It's got to be meaningful, and even though we created some good opportunities and around the goal often, we didn't work the goalkeeper enough, so we've got to do better in that penalty area. And then I said it after the game, if you look at the goals we conceded in the last two games, one's a wide free kick, one's a long throw in, and one's just a straight kick down the middle of the pitch that we've not dealt with. It's not like the opposition have had to work for their goals. If you look at our goal and how well it was worked and the move that we put together, the opposition haven't produced anything like that. But that doesn't mean you win games of football. We haven't, so we've got to do better in both boxes.
With those defensive areas, do you have enough time on the training pitch to almost eradicate them given this busy schedule?
It's hard to practice for those mistakes, and it's hard to, when it's isolated moments in games, which they have been. Set pieces are different. You can practice set pieces and you can give clear roles and responsibilities to people at set pieces, because that's a dead ball situation, so you get time to set up most of the time, so you can prepare for that. Kicking the ball down the middle of the pitch and not dealing with first ball, second ball, third balls, and that's harder. But what you can have an effect on is your mentality, how you're focused and prepared, ready to go into the next game, and it's up to us to show a response after a disappointing home result on Wednesday night.